Sometimes the vibe on set simply doesn't match the magic weaved in the edit suite, and though actors have a certain instinct for how a project's coming together, they can't know everything. Whether making the movie as a pure paycheck gig with little regard for its quality, or having to deal with major on-set issues, these actors had little faith in these projects being anything but glorified jobs. But then came the phenomenal box office success, the pop culture legacy, and perhaps even some Oscars. I'm Cy for WhatCulture.com, and these are 10 movies actors thought would suck, but were awesome. Number 10. Keira Knightley thought Pirates of the Caribbean would be total shit. Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl, is the film that made Keira Knightley an outright star, portraying female lead Elizabeth Swann in 4 of the series' 5 entries to date. Despite how lucrative the part has been for her, Knightley had basement-low expectations for the original Pirates, and according to the actress herself, so did everyone else around her. During a 2008 interview with The Observer, Knightley held nothing back in admitting her original feelings about the first movie while shooting it. She recalled that she felt embarrassed to be telling her friends that she was about to star in a movie based on a Disney theme park ride of all things, and she and her friends agreed that it would be total shit. Then bang, instant stardom, and her dreams of being an actress were realised in one swift, unexpected moment. In addition to being a surprise commercial smash, the original Pirates was also a major critical success, earning 5 Oscar nominations, including a Best Actor nod for Depp. All 4 sequels were more successful at the box office, even though none of them have matched the original's critical favour. Number 9. Tom Hardy couldn't make sense of Mad Max Fury Road while filming it. It's no secret that production on Mad Max Fury Road was an absolute nightmare. The blistering heat in the Nambian desert amid a project that many felt director George Miller was losing control of resulted in tensions regularly boiling over amongst the cast. Stars Tom Hardy and Charlize Theron were famously at loggerheads throughout the shoot due to their differing acting styles, and at the film's Cannes Film Festival premiere, Hardy also confessed he was frustrated with Miller during filming. Hardy felt that Miller didn't clearly communicate with him on set, leading him to believe that the production was basically a runaway train. At the festival's post-screening conference, Hardy apologised to Miller for being myopic, realising that it was tough for him to see the director's true vision when he was focused on executing his own part. He was frustrated at what he thought was a lack of direction, not considering the man leading the project was juggling so much in order to create the final picture. In his words, "I knew Miller was brilliant, but I didn't know how brilliant until I saw it." Given that the tough shoot reportedly panicked Warner Brothers brass, who deployed an executive to the set to try and keep it on track, it would have surprised few if Fury Road was indeed an ambitious mess. But instead it grossed $375 million worldwide, scored near universal critical acclaim, and won 6 Oscars off 10 nominations, including nods for Best Picture and Best Director. Hardy, for his part, seemed quite happy to eat crow about this. Number 8. Al Pacino thought The Godfather might be the worst film ever made. The Godfather is such a towering, confident piece of work, and one held in such high esteem by basically everybody, that it's genuinely shocking to learn that even an actor with instincts as strong as Al Pacino had little faith in it. Though Pacino knew the film had a lot of potential, the uneasy atmosphere on set, combined with director Francis Ford Coppola's relative inexperience, gave him major doubts. In a recent cast reunion, he said, "It was a great script, but at the time we were so young and inexperienced, we didn't know what filmmaking was, really." Pacino also added that he was further perturbed by hearing people snickering on the other end while filming scenes, which made him assume that the shooting wasn't going well. It all came to a head when he and Diane Keaton shot the film's opening wedding scene, and then the pair decided to get drunk for real once shooting was done and unpack their real feelings about the movie, which culminated in fears that this could be the worst film ever made. As it turned out, The Godfather was quite the opposite of the worst film ever made, becoming a phenomenal box office hit, receiving 11 Oscar nominations and winning 3, including Best Picture, as well as spawning 2 sequels. Number 7. Alec Guinness called Star Wars fairy tale rubbish. It's no secret that Obi-Wan Kenobi actor Alec Guinness didn't have much love for Star Wars A New Hope while making it. Before shooting started, he famously referred to it as fairy tale rubbish, and during production noted that he got through filming by thinking of his payday, or as he so wonderfully put it, the lovely bread. Yet, proving himself to be one of the smartest actors in the business, while Guinness thought the material was fundamentally nonsense, he was also one of the few cast members who believed the film would be a major success with audiences. And so, due to the prestige his casting brought the production, Guinness was able to negotiate a 2.25% cut of George Lucas's back-end profits, which, per the film's generation-defining success, reportedly scored him an astonishing $95 million by his death in 2000. Despite this, Guinness had to have his arm twisted to make a small appearance in the sequel, The Empire Strikes Back, hilariously calling it dull, rubbishy stuff, but agreeing to appear due to the feeling that he owed Lucas for the prosperity that A New Hope had brought him. Number 6. Donald Sutherland and Elliot Gould tried to get MASH's director fired. Robert Altman's legendary war satire MASH starred, among others, Donald Sutherland and Elliot Gould, both of whom clashed with Altman throughout the production. Legend dictates that the two actors took major issue with Altman's unconventional shooting style, namely having actors talk over one another to emulate real-life conversation, and also feeling that he spent too much time working with the film's extras. As a result, the pair allegedly spent a large portion of their time on the movie trying to get Altman fired by the bigwigs at 20th Century Fox, albeit unsuccessfully. The two assumed that, under Altman's rule, MASH was destined for failure, a fact that Gould confessed to Altman in private sometime later. As a result, Gould and Altman became good friends, and Gould appeared in a number of the director's subsequent features, yet Altman never worked with Sutherland again. As for MASH, it was a massive commercial success, and received 5 Oscar nominations, including Best Picture and Best Director, while scooping a win for Best Adapted Screenplay. Number 5. Robert Carlisle thought The Full Monty was a load of f***ing pish. The Full Monty is such a cultural milestone of a movie that it's difficult to consider that anyone involved with it genuinely had little faith in it whatsoever. But that's exactly the case with lead actor Robert Carlisle, who in a 2017 interview with Graham Norton confessed what he really thought of the movie while making it, in a most dour Scottish turn of phrase no less. A f***ing load of pish. Carlisle said that The Full Monty was a tough shoot, and said that Fox Searchlight, who were budgeting the film, saw the first cut and decided it was going straight to video. Carlisle added that the film was only granted a theatrical release after producer Uberto Pasoloni begged Fox Searchlight to let him bring in another editor, Nick Moore, to whip the material into shape. Moore did just that, and The Full Monty went on to gross an astonishing $258 million worldwide against a mere $3.5 million budget, while also receiving 4 Oscar nominations, including Best Picture and Best Director, and winning one for Best Original Score. Not bad for a load of f***ing pish, eh, Robbie? Number 4. David Tomlinson called Mary Poppins sentimental rubbish. Mary Poppins is a film that radiates confidence from its every pore, giving the impression that everybody knew they were making something truly special and gave 110% accordingly. Yet David Tomlinson, who played Mr. Banks in the film, wasn't quite so convinced. According to his son James, Tomlinson viewed dailies of Mary Poppins during production and had little faith in the end product turning out well. When he saw the rushes for Poppins, he watched them with Walt Disney. He thought that it was the most sentimental rubbish he had ever seen, says James. He thought that it was going to be a disaster. It's good he wasn't a producer. Ultimately, the film's legacy speaks for itself. It was a colossal financial smash and scored a stonking 13 Oscar nominations with 5 wins, including a well-earned Best Actress triumph for Julie Andrews. Beyond this, the film is largely accepted to be Walt Disney's crowning achievement as a producer. Number 3. Humphrey Bogart and Ingrid Bergman thought Casablanca was ridiculous. Though Casablanca is right up there with The Godfather in discussions of the greatest movies ever made, stars Humphrey Bogart and Ingrid Bergman weren't much feeling it while shooting this 1942 romantic drama. Due to the film being rushed into production to capitalise on the recent Allied invasion of North Africa, the cast had few expectations for the project. The chaos of the shoot's early days, unaided by director Michael Curtis's confrontational manner, prompted both leads to consider quitting the film. However, they ultimately stayed on and instead relayed their frustrations to a fellow actor, Geraldine Fitzgerald, who later revealed what they said. They thought the dialogue was ridiculous and the situations were unbelievable, and Ingrid was terribly upset because she said she had to portray the most beautiful woman in Europe, and no one would believe that. That itself is a more ridiculous statement than the film. Though Casablanca performed modestly well at the box office, it went on to become a surprising Oscar darling, winning 3 Oscars, Best Picture, Best Director and Best Original Screenplay, while scoring 5 additional nominations, including a Best Actor nod for Bogart. Number 2. Arnold Schwarzenegger called The Terminator some movie. It's easy for us to observe the enormous impact and influence of James Cameron's sci-fi masterpiece The Terminator in retrospect, yet back when the movie was being made, few beyond writer-director James Cameron had all that much faith in the modest $6.4 million production. More vocally than anyone, star Arnold Schwarzenegger expected little from the movie except a paycheck, as he explained it to his bodybuilder pal Rick Wayne on the set of Conan the Destroyer, shortly before he went off to shoot The Terminator. In Wayne's own words, "As we sat there talking, he picked up the Conan sword, which weighed a ton, and went through the moves he'd practiced. Then he grabbed a pair of shoes and I said, 'What are those for?' He said, 'Oh, some movie I'm doing. Take a couple of weeks.' It was The Terminator. That was the movie that made Arnold. For him, it was just some crap film." It's hilarious to consider how little Arnold thought of the movie on the eve of shooting, compared to its enormous critical and commercial success, which effectively launched the careers of both himself and Cameron, and built a franchise which remains Arnie's most recognisable almost 40 years later. Number 1. Cary Grant offered to do another movie for free if he could quit The Awful Truth. Cary Grant was the male lead in Leo McCarey's 1937 screwball comedy The Awful Truth, yet from the very first day of shooting he was extremely uneasy about McCarey's directing style, enough that he even tried to exit the project early into production. The Awful Truth started shooting without a finished script, and with McCarey opting for improvisational directorial style, numerous cast members became frustrated and Grant even became physically ill from stress. After a week, Grant sent Columbia head Harry Cohn an 8-page memo explaining his grievances and asking to be cut loose, even offering to pay $5,000 and do at least one movie for free as compensation. Cohn ignored the request, and when McCarey learned what Grant was up to, he was so enraged that he stopped speaking to the actor for a time. After seeing McCarey at work, however, Grant began to warm to his unorthodox directorial methods, and the shoot was largely completed without major issue. Even so, Grant was likely surprised when The Awful Truth was not only a box office hit, but received 6 Oscar nominations, including Best Picture and Best Director, while catapulting Grant himself into the A-list overnight. Better still, this is the movie that cemented Grant's popular screen persona, while also helping him develop improv skills that would carry through the rest of his career. And that's the list. Let us know what you thought of this video in the comments below. Which of these films is your favourite? And can you think of any other examples of actors who thought their films would suck, but they turned out to be legendary? Make sure you like this video, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and of course, share it with your friends. I've been Cypher What Culture, and have a good week.